Hello and greetings, it is I, BlazeLeeDragon, and I am, as always, driving in the car. Well, I've recently had a request from a few of my viewers to start doing some solo videos again, so here we go. Today's video will specifically be having to do with prayers, requests from the gods, divine intervention, and it's going to be specifically on whether or not the gods, goddesses, God, deity, the great spirit, the great divinity exists based upon the fact that we don't always get what we ask for. So, I'd like to start out this video by also mentioning that for those of you who like what I have to say, like hearing me speak in circles and ramble to myself, please give me a thumbs up. Right below the video, thumbs up. Thumbs up means you like, thumbs down means you're a jerk. I mean, means you don't like. But seriously, I was thinking today about the fact that we often ask for things that we want, and we don't understand why cruelty or evil or negativity happens to us. Now, I say evil very begrudgingly just for the simple fact that I personally don't believe evil exists. For that matter, I don't think good exists either. I think everything is based upon perception. I think the way that we perceive things as being good or bad is what makes them good or bad. To take an example from history, let's look at the Nazis. Instantly, people hear the word Nazi and they're like, really? Now, if couples of the individuals out there who are possibly neo-Nazis or whatever the case may be that are still believing in that pattern, it's regardless of whether or not you like them. The point is, they were they stood out in history and society. You know, people still talk about them, covering the camera. People still talk about them this day because of some of the things that they did were rather horrific, even if not all participated. And the reason I'm bringing them up is because if you look at, like, Americans or some of the people during the Holocaust that were targeted, to them the Nazis are evil. However, if you take the Nazis themselves, you know, they have this person, you know, Hitler, who's telling them that they're the super race and they're perfection, and it's fed to them constantly. So when they're going out and doing some of the things they're doing, they're heroes to their own people. Let's take another more modern example, talking about our U.S. soldiers over there across the seas. Well, to, you know, the U.S. obviously are here, you know, our heroes. Our soldiers are heroes to us, obviously. But to them, some of them over there, they think that we're evil, twisted, and trying to, like, take control and tell them what to do. So it's all based upon your perception. So when you're asking and you're praying to the gods, your deities, whatever the case may be, and you're asking for something, and this goes to a great extent beyond just simple religion and belief and asking for stuff, also asking from your guides or angels, guardians, fairies, spirits, whatever the case may be, asking from any source, or even going so far as to get into spellcraft and mysticism to cast a spell for something you desire, need, or want, and you don't always necessarily get an answer. A lot of people will say, well, then obviously it doesn't work, it's bullshit, or they'll think they're being punished, like, well, why is this happening to me? And once again, I want to bring up the thing of perception. Really look at the situation. If you look at the situation that we're in today, take my life for an example, and I'm just going to briefly, you know, I'm not going to go into great detail, but my point is I can complain all I want about issues that I'm personally going through, such as recently, I'm trying to find a way to fund college, so that I can finish up my college degree, which I'm halfway through. So I can complain all day about, oh, well, I need more money, and, excuse me, I need to be able to pay off my student loans, and all this other good stuff, and I can complain and whine and moan about that, you know, continuously, but then I can sit here and think, well, it's not the gods that are sitting here making me have student loans. First of all, I went into debt and got the student loans. You know, that's something I chose to do. And I don't necessarily need to have a college education, even though it's expected in our society. Not to mention, too, let's look at the fact, what kind of life do I have? I'm sitting here talking on a freaking Android phone that takes video, and I'm able to post it and have people hear what I have to say, for good or for bad. And I'm driving a car. I'm driving in a vehicle. I have a license. I have 2 legs. I can breathe. I'm in fairly decent health, even though, that once again, that's based upon choice too. So, my point is, regardless of what you're asked for, what you're going through in life, it's not the gods doing these things to you. I don't believe that the gods will go out of their way to make you suffer or in pain. I think that we live in a type of utopia to where we get to choose what we do with ourselves in our lives. And there is always people in worse situations. So instead of focusing so much on what you don't have or what you need, focus more on being appreciative for what you already do have, what you do have at the moment. You know, live in the moment, live in the now. And if you want something, strive for it. And if you don't succeed and you don't make it, so what? You know? When you're talking about, sorry, allergies, you know, say, oh, why am I always coughing? I want to feel better. And I don't mean to say that mockingly. I'm just trying to be amusing by doing my voices because I enjoy doing that. But seriously, it's like, when something is not going the way that you want it to, and you want something to be different or changed, you have to make that effort. You have to put forth the effort. You have to make that change. And if it doesn't happen, that's not necessarily a failure on yourself or a failure on your deities. It just sometimes is not meant to happen. And if you really look at things, things don't happen to you. Like, if you look at some of these hurricanes and these people's losing their homes, well, first and foremost, the hurricane didn't go there specifically to make those people suffer, okay? The world doesn't revolve around you and making you hate life. You know, look at the simple fact that these people, first of all, lived. So that alone should make them happy and grateful. Then you have people who care, and Red Cross and all these different groups that go out there and help, people who donate to disaster relief. Does it suck? Absolutely. Would I ever want to go through it? Hell no. Who would? But I'm just trying to say, things and natural disasters and stuff like that, I don't believe personally are specifically assaults against you. Things happen, you choose how you deal with them. And this goes from big things like the hurricane all the way down to smaller things. You know, it comes down to who you are as a person and who you choose to be as a person. It's your perception, it's how you perceive things. And like I said, these are my thoughts. This is my opinion. I'm just some crazy psycho guy who's recording a video while driving home from work. You know, I take it or leave it at a grain of salt, but it's just, I wanted to share that with you because I had that thought today, and it wasn't about college, but it was just, you know, just in general. I was thinking about my life and some of the places that I would like to be. And I, for one, don't blame and never have, or at least not that I recollect. I'm sure there's been a time, even I have, but it's like, I don't ever blame my deities or get angry at them because something didn't happen or didn't work out. I'm not like, oh, well, how could you put me through this? I don't feel they're putting me through this. They're giving me this life, this existence, and it's my life, my existence. I get to choose where I put myself. If I don't want to be around certain people, I need to not be around them. You know, if I want inconsequential crap like video games, I need to work and earn them. But I don't need them. If you really come down to it, what is it that you need to survive in this life? You know, you need air, you need food and substance, you need shelter, and you need love and interaction with people. And a lot of people have that, and they don't realize how great their life is because they're comparing it to other people. They're comparing it to what they don't have. And once again, like I said, my recommendation is not to focus on what you do not have, but focus on what you do have. You know? Family, friends, what talents and skills you have. Could you be better at them? Sure. Don't compare yourself to other people, though. Compare yourself to where your progress has been with that skill. Do you draw? How well do you draw? Compare it to when you were a child. Compare it to, you know, a year ago. Keep track of your drawings. People improve over time through dedication to an art. So just, whether it comes to the deities or your own personal growth and development, stop trying to blame other people, other energies, other deities, other faiths, and just take the responsibility onto yourself. When something bad happens, it is just an occurrence. It is part of the natural existence and the world that we live in. It is not, in my opinion, it's not karma going out of its way to bitch slap you. It just happens. Who you choose to be out of that situation, though, now it's back on your shoulders. So that's my thoughts. This is BlazeLeeDragon. Once again, if you like hearing me ramble, you like my thoughts and my little video drive homes, give me a thumbs up. You know, leave a comment. If you have a question or a topic you want to hear me blather on about or talk about or give my opinion about, go ahead and, you know, leave a comment, send me a message. I'd be happy to talk your ear off. So, yay, under 10 minutes.